Chapter 1. France kills God. 1789. The people of France are poor and hungry, and the aristocracy is like, well, if they ain't got bread, why don't they just eat cake? They didn't say that, but the people thought they said that because when these people run out of bread, they eat cake, and when these people run out of bread, they starve. But the royal family weren't the only ones eating cake, no siree. This is the Catholic Church. Their top dogs live in palaces some aristocrats could only dream of, and some of them believe in Jesus. Some didn't, because when they're not praying for your soul, they're in the real estate business. They own 10% of France, meaning peasants in that 10% have to pay the church when they grow their wheat, and then pay the church again when they grind their wheat, and then pay 10% of whatever they have left, just 'cause. And the church didn't have to pay taxes because the church and the monarchy are BFFs. They've supported each other through thick and thin since the days of Charlemagne. The church gets tax breaks, and the king gets blessed as the God-certified mucho gusto good boy. But in 1789, the other 98% of everybody in France is not on board. They rise up and say, this is dumb. You're dumb. We're making our own council where we all get counted equally, and we're the ones making the laws. The people abolish feudalism, but that's not all. They declare, the people are free to worship as they please. They seize the church's lands to be auctioned away to the public and declare the tax on soul saving is over. But what to do with the priests? They won't have any money now, which makes full-time priesting kind of hard. So here's what they do. The government pays the priests' salaries, a living wage, and no more. All the priests have to do is swear an oath to France above all else. The revolutionaries weren't replacing the Catholic Church, you see, they were just replacing the Pope. And anyone who refused would have to face dismissal, deportation, or death. No, not death. It's barbaric, said Robespierre, who later killed 50,000 people. Besides, what about freedom of religion? This is actually one of the best chances for the king not to get guillotined if he turns on the church, but unfortunately for him, he's more devout than his priests. As far as he knows, taking communion from one of these bureaucrat priests would be heresy and risk his immortal soul. He writes to the Pope for help, and the Pope tells him, I don't know what to say, I mean, don't sign it, dude. Easier said than done when the king was being held prisoner in Paris. King Louis signs, but he makes a fuss about it, and the revolutionaries do not like that. Robespierre sentences the king to death so that France may live, and if the church and the king are gonna swim together, they're gonna sink together. So about half the clergy takes the oath, which means in theory, Catholicism can keep going strong, but the revolution is still heating up. This looks like a job for Joseph Fuchcher. Fuchcher was a militant atheist, and I mean a militant atheist. Wherever he went, no matter what problem he was supposed to be solving for the revolutionary government, he always made time to sack the churches and dress up donkeys in pope hats because your God is a lie, death is forever, existence is meaningless. Christianity is the hocus pocus of the old regime. This is the new age of enlightenment and reason. We have the metric system, for crying out loud. There's no God in the metric system. But worshiping something is really fun. So let's worship reason. Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris is redecorated for a festival of reason. But the organizer, one Monsieur Montmoreau, can't settle on a direction. On the one hand, it was supposed to be this pagan revival kind of thing. They had a goddess of reason and nature and liberty, but he didn't want to make statues because a statue of liberty would have been idolatrous, according to the second commandment of the religion he just replaced. So he got his wife to dress up in a sexy Halloween costume, and then he ran around Notre Dame going, this is a metaphor, liberty is a concept, my religion is fake. It was truly inspiring. The revolutionary government seemed to agree. They were preparing to give it their official blessing if it hadn't been for one man. And where do you think you're going? Robespierre watched Fuchcher tour France, writing, "Death is an eternal sleep" over every cemetery gate, and had begun to question if sparkling atheism was right for the people. And you did not want to be on Robespierre's bad side. Robespierre had taken absolute power over the government and used it to behead anyone who got in the way of the quote-unquote people. And now he wanted absolute power over the church. He began by executing his neighbor Montmoreau. But God is dead. Then I'll make a new one. Where the cult of reason was a hodgepodge of conflicting attitudes and ideas, France's new religion, the cult of the supreme being, was the brainchild of a single prophet. Robespierre replaced sparkling atheism with sparkling agnosticism. His very first act is to write a sort of diplomatic envoy to God. France officially recognizes the supreme being, whomever that might be, and promises to worship said being by being good people, and serving the people, and killing bad people. Next, he must win the hearts and minds of the people in order to convince them of his new made-up religion and save their souls. Robespierre preaches to the citizens of Paris from the highest mountaintop. There are no mountains in Paris, so he builds one. People of France, there is no Christ, there is no Muhammad, there is only the people and some kind of higher power. Don't be religious, but be kinda spiritual and purge the non-believers. Robespierre was talking in very clinical terms about the social utility of a new civic religion, but that's not what the people saw on the ground. There was this whole other cult that started with a woman promising to give birth to God and ended with her disciples worshipping guillotine enthusiast Max Robespierre as the new messiah. So, Max is giving a sermon on the mountain, these guys are bowing down to the Messiah, and all of a sudden, it clicks. Well, this is all a bit silly. Robespierre is fuming. Insane, am I? Is that what you've been thinking? You know what this sounds like? London propaganda. There's conspiracists all throughout the government, and I know who you are, and I'm coming to get you. This is all a bit silly too, isn't it?
And they cut off his head. France went back to being a bunch of Christian normies. Napoleon outlawed all those French Revolution cults, but none of them could have foreseen the rise of a cult more sinister than Robespierre's. Capitalism! Have I got your attention? Good, because I've got something to sell you. A company emailed me saying, we want to make a marketable plushie. I said, I want it to be evil. They said, this evil? I said, holy, no, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you made him too evil.
You wanted him to be evil. You
said you wanted a cuddly plush guy who went crazy and guillotined thousands. I want to be able to sleep at night. Introducing the all-new Robespierre plushie. You and Robespierre can go to the park, comb each other's hair, and best of all, real head-detaching action. Just like the real thing. Does anyone want this? I don't know, I just thought it sounded like fun. If enough people order them, we will actually make these things. And if a lot of people order them, I don't know, maybe we'll do like Teddy Roosevelt or somebody. Or Stalin. Link in the description, the comments, all the places where links live. I like my job.